Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon to everybody. Welcome to this edition of our STARS Alumni Lounge. We have now a selected group of people attending. Others might join in 1 minute or 2 minutes or a little bit later on, we shall see. I am Tony Schönenberger. I'm the co-founder of STARS and the executive chairman of STARS. So, dear colleagues, we have actually two different online platforms. We have the STARS webinars, which are public. And secondly, we have the STARS Alumni Lounge, which is actually a forum exclusively for STARS alumni or friends of STARS or donors. Participation is limited to approximately 20 participants to make it as interactive as possible. So again, a select group is attending the session live, but a few hundreds will watch it later on as a recording. Today, we have the great pleasure to talk to Pelayo COVARRUBIAS. So good morning, Pelayo. I think it's 9 o'clock in the morning with you in Chile.
That's right. Good morning, everyone.
Great to have you here. Pelayo is again based in Chile. He is a business engineer, an MBA, etc., and consultant to numerous companies and public institutions, focusing mainly on education, telecommunication, and also digital economy. He's currently president of the Fundación Pais Digital and is a board member of many private and public companies. And I should also mention he was the anchor of the CNN program of science, technology, and innovation. But last but certainly not least, Pelayo, you are a STARS alumnus. So we have approximately 30 minutes right now. First, Pelayo will give us a short presentation. Then we have a Q&A session. If you have any questions to Pelayo, please use the raise hand function at the bottom, and then you can ask your question directly to Pelayo. So let's go right into medias res. Pelayo, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be with you, everyone, today, this morning from Chile. I say hello to everybody. Here is 9 o'clock, so good morning for me. I know you have different times in different countries. As Tony told you, for me, it's a pleasure to talk about digital transformation in Latin America and what happened here in Latin America. I will share with you a short presentation. The idea is we can talk a little bit. So let me show you the presentation and talk a little bit what happened in Latin America in this last 2 years after COVID pandemic. As you know, COVID pandemic is transforming everything here. And it's very interesting because we are facing the biggest pandemic of the last 100 years, where digital technologies have adopted a key role on the daily basis. And as you know, Harari has repeatedly mentioned and written about the technology, and it's the greatest challenge of the humanity today. He has even stayed in the last forum in Davos last year and talk about the technology and talk about the risk that are dividing the world in the technology. Why? Because we have some difference, we have some gaps, we have some existing gaps among users and the advantages or disadvantages of the concentration of digital power, or different multiple attacks that we failure in cybersecurity on the most critical scenarios when the critical infrastructure collapses. So when we talk about Latin America, we also talk about these digital gaps, or we talk about this digital power, how it's concentrated in different companies, or we talk about this failure of cybersecurity. So when we talk about digital economy in Latin America, we are talking about infrastructure and how we will how we was prepared for this. Let me talk you a little diagnosis of LATAM and how it's doing here in Chile. Of course, Chile is not the exception about what happened in Latin America. We are already discussing and presenting different projects regarding how economic and social recovery and the transformation can be achieved. Oh, but how do digital technologies intervene in this? For instance, according to OECD, in Chile, we are in the middle of the table and we are the leader of Latin America. So that shows you a little bit what happened in Latin America with these technologies. It's important to know that we study many different studies. You can see there in your TV or your computer, and we have different places in different issues. Of course, we are talking about that in Latin America, we are followers of technology. So if you look where we have the most challenge is in the way to adapt new technology and new technology in a way to change our process. Among Latin America, it's among the 55 place in different issues. In Chile, we are among 33 worldwide. So we try to adopt different kind of technologies each year, and with you can see over there different studies that I show you to rank the countries in Latin America and of course Chile. What happened? From this global diagnosis, several terms are mostly repeated. When we talk about these old studies, we talk about digital skills, we talk about innovation, we talk about technology adoption, we talk about, among others, where we start, what we have to do different, what issues we have to tackle in Latin America in a way to try to better our standards of technology, which path we should take. So during the last year, in our foundation, we took all these studies that I show you, and we took these 5 pillars in where we have to push. We review many digital agenda from different countries like Spain or Germany or United Kingdom or Singapore or New Zealand. And the result of that was a digital country plan. And in this plan, we have 5 works or 5 areas where we have to work and more than 17 different dimensions to try to focus in Chile and in Latin America in a way to progress in this digital transformation. Of course, the most important thing for us is first connectivity. We need to have a huge matrix of connectivity. Then, of course, we have to enhance the digital competence that we need here in Chile. We are trying to find how to educate our people, our population in a better way and a more rapid way in digital skills and competence of the 21st century. Also, an economy promotion, change our mind because we are already in a digital world in a way to have an economy promotion different. And finally, try to modernize and transform the state in where the state give a digital service for their citizens very good. So we are trying to put in our agenda these pillars as I show you and try to combine effort if it's needed with the government and with the private companies, of course with the entrepreneurs in this base of a technology economy. Ahora, what we do in Pais Digital, in our foundation? Well, we focus in different programs. So we have many initiatives for all the years. For instance, in the first, we have this BBOT, like I show you. It's a little project, it's a very interesting project that has been established with the Department of the Early Childhood Education in the early teaching in mathematical or logical thinking to more than 14,000 educators in more than 100 schools. These communities began with this program try to solve the digital gap that we have, teaching these these kids the abilities that they need to the 21st century. Then, for instance, another program we work with, and this was very important because Novartis helped Tony a lot of this, is a program that we give connectivity with more than 400 schools that didn't have connectivity among the pandemic. That was pretty difficult because, as you know, we have all the education through the computers and tele-educations. So we have different programs from the early childhood to the university that show or give to the possibility to the people to have this connectivity. This program that you're seeing, that's also what's very interesting, because we give more than 80,000 elderly people the possibility to be connected and talk to read and write in the full pandemic mode. What we do, we give them 80,000 kits of connectivity with one smartphone, Samsung smartphone, and a special design inside of the smartphone, so they can have the possibility to be connected in the pandemic and with their people. Most of those 80,000 people doesn't have connectivity here in Chile. That was another program. Another program that this is very interesting is we work with the medium companies, showing them how to digitalize these companies. What is digitalize? Is to have a web, is to begin to understand the 21st century, is to be possible to have e-commerce, is the alternative to and understand how to work in this 21st century economy with the problem that those things bring. We transform into an intelligent rural community. Because of this invitation and the support of these strategies, they have the possibility to work inside of the community. And this is very difficult here in Latin America. We have a lot of very primary communities that need this kind of help in a way to, first, give them connectivity, second, educate them in these new things, and third, bring the state in possible to have services, more digital services for that. Well, many of these programs, as I show you, give the possibility to the different communities and different people to get into the digital system. But what happened beyond these digital challenges? Very short. As you know, we are in the middle of a very important social crisis. Most of them because the inequality that we have faced here in Latin America, and of course this pandemic crisis. So what we are talking for the future in this, one, the things that we're talking is technology help us in Latin America to face, to challenge, to resolve this challenge with the technology. So these projects, along with many other from the state and private companies as organization of civil society, have found a guide to start this social and economic recovery of the country. And today we have this unique opportunity to lead the economic recovery of post-COVID in Latin America hand in hand with technology adoption, and also facing challenge beyond digital. We are facing an really unparalleled environment of social crisis, health crisis, thinking about the future. And that's how major technology companies have done it and can help us as the entrepreneurs, as do it now within Chile. I want to give you, for them, the presentation, 3 cases of huge entrepreneurs in Chile that now are getting a unicorn. This is, their companies have more than 1 billion of value. Notco, you know, if you know Notco company now is in Dow Jones. It's a Chilean company who transform from vegetables. They give healthy food, and this is a way where in Chile or in Latin America we learn from these entrepreneurs in a way to change our mind and took the technology to solve social problem or social crisis. The second sample that I want to bring you is is Corner Shop. Corner Shop now was acquired by Uber. It's a very interesting company who help people to buy into supermarket through different ways of people. It's the last mile of logistics. They really changed the way of buy things in the world. Now they are in all Latin America, Mexico, Argentina, Brazil, and now they are getting into a US market. And finally, this is very interesting, Betterfly. Betterfly is changed how the insurance company are transforming healthy habits into life insurance. So this is a very nice sample of how technology is now is using to face this social problem or health problem that we was talking about. And about little thing about Pais Digital. Pais Digital is a foundation that we bring more than 30 big companies on the world, and we have only one goal: is push the country in change, push the country in the way to have a digital economy and embrace these new technologies. As we talk in Latin America, we are followers of the technology. We buy technology from you, from Asia or from America, and Pais Digital try to bring all of this technology in samples and put it in the society in a way to enhance the country to this a new state of the 21st century. With that, I would like Tony to open the conversation. The idea is we can talk about a little bit of these issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pelayo. Great, impressive presentation. Thank you very much again. I'd also like to welcome one person in the audience. It's Andrea Prado. She is from Costa Rica, but she is, in addition to that, she is the chairwoman of the STARS alumni chapter in Costa Rica, covering all of Latin America. So welcome, Andrea, and if you feel to step in, please do that. So Pelayo, if you allow, I ask the first question, but I would like to encourage all of you to raise hands, and then you get the word and you ask the question directly to Pelayo. Pelayo, you mentioned Harari, particularly what he said in Davos at the World Economic Forum. I'll just repeat what you said: technology risks dividing the world, probably into haves and have-nots. If you think of all the developments and the potential of technology, what do you see is the single biggest, most important opportunity we see in the field of technology, globally speaking?
Thank you very much for that question. I also say hello to Andrea that I see over there. Hi, Andrea. I guess it's the most important opportunity for countries like us. I agree with Harari when he said that technology is the greatest challenge of humanity, but also is a risk, because you have people that get the connectivity and a lot of people that get out of connectivity. And in this moment of our reality, it's very important to understand that people would get out of this kind of connectivity. This really get out of the world. Let me show you an example in Chile. Among the pandemic, before the pandemic, we have like 15–18% of our commerce was e-commerce. After the pandemic, we have 48% of our e-commerce is e-commerce. So all of that companies that don't get out in this e-commerce possibility get out of the market. So it's very difficult for them. The gap that we have before the pandemic is much more after the pandemic. So what are we talking about here in Chile? That we can get out of the fourth revolution like we get out for the one and the second revolution in the world. If you see why Latin America get out of the first revolution is because we didn't have the education and we adopt the technology very late. So for us, with your questions, Tony, and I guess all of the public policies what we need in our countries is to get all the private companies with the government, with the state, in this new digital technology revolution, and embraces first of them and try to work with this technology. No, again, you will see that in many cases, people are trying to do the same task or the same duties that the machines do. For instance, let me talk about mining companies. In Chile, you know, is a mining country. We have many of the most important mining companies in the world. Well, those companies now, they're getting in a process of a few people in the operation and more machinery. We have to educate all of that people in the new technology in a way that those people change their things or way to work and not compete with the machines. So we are talking of a culture change in our country.
Of course, the second question would be, again, regarding Hariri's word in Davos. What is then the biggest single risk you see right now? Is it in the field of cybersecurity? Is it ransomware? Is it the collapse of digital infrastructure? Or what do you see actually?
For me, the first one is private data. I get private data. It's a very important in the 21st century and also in all of the Latin American countries. The control of those data could be very dangerous. I guess we have to try in all of the countries to have a lot of careful with the data. You know, idea companies have a lot of data. In the countries, government can have a lot of data, and that is a geopolitical problem that we have to face. So for me, first is data, how we manage all of the private data and the data of the country. Second, of course, we have many trouble with the digital economy in a way of those problems like cybersecurity, the embrace of the digital economy for different companies, the gap that we produce among different societies. I guess that is the second problem, how to face all of the digital, in one side challenge and opportunities, but on the other side, the weaknesses of the problem that this also give us. And third, I should say education. It's very difficult when you don't have, you are used to have country like Switzerland or the different, or New Zealand or Singapore, for instance, that have a digital culture. But when you don't have those digital culture, it's very difficult to teach the people, to teach the teachers in a way to think different. So the most important issues here in Latin America is how we change culture of our teachers, our people in all. For instance, people who send their kids to university, they still think that, I don't know, law or medicine school are the most important, or business as the most important careers for the future, when STEMs are far the most important, but we don't have the culture to understand that.
Great, thank you very much. Any questions from the audience?
I have a question, if you allow, Tony. Pelayo, or let's say a hypothesis, including a question. You mentioned that topic of culture change. And okay, I understand your point of access to technology and for sure that South America is lagging behind. But I would have the hypothesis that the culture change remains the same challenge across all continents, even if we have access. And maybe a stupid example, but my children during the lockdown, the first lockdown, they received their papers by email, and then they were printing out everything at home. The second lockdown, they received their papers by Teams, and everybody thought, oh, now we leapfrog technology. But at the end of the day, they were still printing everything and doing their papers at home. So it didn't change anything. And now they receive tablets at school. So what do? They write their German or math exams or papers. They do it with a digital pen on their tablet. I mean, that's not using technology in education. That's just replicating what we have done with the technological platform. So I think there we need to have that cultural change and say, you know, what are the business models, or what can we do differently? I mean, you mentioned the Uber topic, and I think especially for countries, probably, or let's say continents like South America, there's even more potential because they can overcome some of the infrastructural challenges they had so far and access people to use that technology. Or how would you see that? How would you see that how we can, let's say, accelerate that cultural change, I think?
I just wanted to say that Dominic will be our next speaker in 2 weeks from now in our Stars Alumni Lounge, just to invite everybody right now.
Thank you, Tony. And as an outlook, you know, we love digital tools for children because that generates myopia. So that's very good for our business at the end of the day. You know?
Good. Now, Pelayo, the floor is yours.
Congratulations for that, Dominic. You know, it's a huge point that you bring here. And, you know, when we get to the lockdown and everyone go pass to virtual education, the thing that we face was not the platform. You know, Zoom is #7 brand now in Chile. When you list the rank of the different brands, first is Google, 7 is Zoom. Nobody knows Zoom before the pandemic. So that was very interesting because all the education went to technology. All the people who have the connectivity to have the education. That's very important, not forget. But second, the most important challenge didn't want the platform. That was how teachers change their mind and teach through the platform. That was the most difficult thing. Teachers used to, in the last 100 years, to teach the same class in the same way and use their same samples. With the technology, all of this changed a lot. So as you see with your kids, and this is a good sample, that is because the teacher didn't understand how to change the process of the work in the house. Now we are doing a huge program in Pais Digital that we are teaching the teachers how to have the pedagogy, I don't know how to say that word in English, the pedagogia, which is how to teach to the people, is the way to understand the new way of thinking of the kids. Let me give you an example. 5 years ago, we have a test. We middle the kids from 2nd grade and the 8th grade. And we ask them 3 simple questions. First, you can turn on the computer. Then you can open some Outlook or some Gmail emails. You can take an email, transform it a little bit and send it. That are the 3 questions. Less than 1% of the children of the 2nd basics, like 6-year children, couldn't do. And less than 10% of the kids of 15 years, couldn't do. Now, the same test, 100% of the kids did. So, why is this important in this sample? Because this pandemic changed the paradigms of the world and changed all of the things that our students know. So our students now, they are used to turn on a computer, send an email, have a conversation like this through different platforms or like Zoom. So the real challenge that the teachers have now is how they teach different, understanding that today all the students have different abilities that they have before the pandemic. So I guess, Dominic, that is a huge point that you raised here.
Anybody else wanting to ask a question? If not, yes, Sven, you want to ask a question, please, Sven.
Berlin. On the Global Cybersecurity Index from 2018, Chile has been ranked, I think, on position 84 or something like that, behind Colombia, behind Cuba, behind Mexico, and so on. So would you say there is a certain effort to improve the security questions in Chile?
Thank you for the question, Sven. You know, I help a lot to the government in these issues, and it will be very difficult. There's a lot of effort, but if I can say you, we didn't have success. The government now is in other issues. So when you talk about cybersecurity, I guess that the government, also the private companies, respond more from when you have the threaten that then you have to move because you think it's a good strategy. For instance, we have one state bank here, is Banco del Estado, which is the state bank here in Chile, and they have a cybersecurity, a huge cybersecurity problem, more than $25 million. The hackers asked them for them, and after that, they understand that they have to have a good cybersecurity strategy. So if you really ask me, Sven, the thing that I see here is more than a huge answer, more than a first step and go first in the strategy. It's very difficult, and again, it's a cultural thing. You are used to have in between Europe and USA, you know, most of the hackers come from the Russian or that's zones of Asia, Europe, Asia. Here to South America, not that much. So it's beginning to have a problem, but it's not a real problem yet. That is the way of thinking. So they say, hey, we can stay a little bit 1 year more, 2 years more. When we face the problem, we will solve. We will try to solve it. That is the Latin American culture, Ben.
To see you again, Pelayo. And my question is for those people that are not connected, how do we connect them? Because if we look, for instance, I'm in Costa Rica. Costa Rica, we have high connectivity, but we go next door, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, very low levels of connectivity. How do we connect them? Is giving them a phone, or is access? Are people that have a phone considered connected? Is that going to be enough for them to be able to jump? Because actually some of the statistics, I believe, count connectivity as having a phone. And when I see some of the kids taking classes on the phone, you cannot really learn through a phone.
That is a huge question, Andrea. We face that also challenge here in Chile, and I guess we are doing well in that here in Chile, but in Latin America it's a huge problem. Let me tell you a little bit what we do in Chile. In Chile, we have 100% of mobility connected, but with 3G or 2G, so we have to go to 4G. That's a very important thing. We are launching 5G, but 5G is more for industrial purpose than for the people. In a way to fiber, we have set 64% of our population with fiber, which is a lot. It's more than the average of the OECD countries. With those 64%, we put with the state money and with private company all the backbone of the fiber. So we want to have up to 2025, the 100% of population with fiber optic, which is very good. It's like Japan or goes near of the, I guess it's like Switzerland or Spain have also good fiber optic in their network. So we think like you that for education, for telemedicine, for tele everything, we need fiber optic. That is the standard. But we see the difference with the people when they didn't have connectivity. This is really, really sad. People without connectivity, the gap that we produce in the knowledge, in the economic, in the sense of security of them, is we have many different pools that we did from them, and we have a lot of troubles in a way to understood their role and their capabilities without connectivity. So, Andrea, this is for me the first issue that we have to tackle here in Latin America. Let me go to Latin America. I have the opportunity to talk in different countries in talking like this, or go to their countries, and I guess it's a huge problem because the state didn't have the possibilities to give resources to these kind of issues. As you know, in Chile, we have 85% of our people vaccinated. Today, it's more than in Switzerland that we talked with Tony. Chile is a country that have many opportunities because we save a lot of money in the past 40 years. So we have the money to push some subsidiary issues in a way to enhance fiber optic or mobile phones. But in the rest of Latin American countries, that possibility now is impossible. So I believe that we can have a huge problem in between the people with connectivity and without, and I agree with you that the standard should be fiber optic.
I have two final questions. Pelayo, technologically speaking, how do you see the world in 2030?
All connected, which is a different world. When we have 8 million of people connected, the logistic of the world changes. I guess the pandemic give us 10 or 20 or 15 years of advance of the was as 21st century will be. It was amazing. You know, so in United States today, you can, when you see Amazon, you see Apple, you see the largest companies on the country, they triple their value. Well, they went for $1 to $3 trillion of $1 million. That's amazing. And why Amazon is that? Because they have 45% of the market in e-commerce. So the world today is different. We have these huge companies that they have a huge amount of data, and this changed the world that we really knew in the past. So I see a very digital world, all connected with a different kind of way to do things like this. It's difficult for us, Tony, as we thought in the past. All of our symposium in different countries will be different. For instance, in Pais Digital, I just have a symposium last week, which is very important here in Chile, and I have more than 1 million people connected. So for the next year, when I hope to come back to have a presential symposium, it will be blended. It will be physically, but also virtually. It will be like a TV show program. It will be changed because things already change. So many people that never participate of this kind of great events, now they understand they can participate. So I see a huge world connected with a different kind of education, more worldwide education, bringing the most important thing of different countries, and with a different kind of mobility, more tourism mobility than business mobility.
I have a very final question. You're a board member. You know many managers, top managers. You're a consultant. So my question is regarding leadership after pandemic. What are the major lessons learned for business leaders?
Flexibility. I guess today the leaders should understand that flexibility get to the world with a huge change. All today people work from their office or work from their homes or work blended. How they change the things in the companies. Companies are no more hierarchical, are much more horizontal. People is working from their house and they ask you, hey, I don't want to work in the office, I want to work in the house. What do you say to them? So people change, people is changing from places. It's amazing here in Latin America that we have different kind of taxes, or sometimes the prices of the land is very different in between a large city or a small town. People change from the large city to a small town, saving a lot of money and working from there, and very talented people. So I get flexibility is the new way of the new standard to manage companies in a way to return talent and to look further to the future. Because we will be connectivity, with good connectivity, because countries are facing and trying to put money in these issues. I guess in the 25, you will have better connectivity in the world, and with the flexibility that the manager or the leadership needs.
Great. Pelayo, thank you very much. We have to come to an end, But first of all, on behalf of everybody, I would like to thank you very much for your brilliant insights. I think we all learned a lot, not only about Chile and Latin America, but also about the world as a whole. So thank you very much again. And we very much look forward to having you and seeing you again physically one-to-one in Singapore or in Switzerland or in China next year. For you that in 2 weeks, from now, there will be a next STARS Alumni Lounge. I already mentioned it. It will be Dominic von Planta, and he will be speaking about, obviously, his company, about innovation in his company, about the success story. I would call it of a hidden champion. Dominic, we very much look forward to having you in 2 weeks from now. So I hope to see you there. All of you, in the meantime, take care, stay healthy. Thank you very much again, and goodbye.